Rick Hendrick is about to do something that should be impossible. He is reportedly trying to pull off a heist, a flat-out heist, to pry the hottest road course weapon in the world out of a team he literally helps power. And here's the part that doesn't make sense. The man he wants drives a Chevrolet that runs on a Hendrick alliance. To get Shane van Gisbergen, Rick Hendrick would have to betray his own engine partner, raid the garage of a friend, and tear up an alliance that's been printing wins since 2021. So why would the most powerful man in the sport blow up his own backyard for one Kiwi? The answer is buried in secret telemetry, a 32-year-old's medical chart, and a number, the number 48, that has quietly become the biggest crisis in the Hendrick empire. Buckle up, mate. This one gets dirty. Let's start with the part everyone thinks they understand. Shane van Gisbergen is fast. No, that's underselling it. The man is an absolute flyer. But here's what most of you missed. At Watkins Glen in 2025, SVG didn't just win. He won by 11.1 seconds. 11.1. That's the second largest margin of victory in modern Cup Series history. He started 24th, carved through the entire field, and crossed the line so far ahead that second-place Christopher Bell was practically in a different time zone. 4 consecutive road course wins, Rookie of the Year, 9 career road course wins across all 3 NASCAR series, already tied for second all-time. A 42.9% win rate when the track turns both ways. Now Nashville, this is where it stopped being a road course story. In June 2026, on an oval, the thing everyone said this guy couldn't do, Shane van Gisbergen led 12 laps and scored a career-best oval finish of 5th. 5th. On a concrete mile and a third where the whole knock on him was, yeah, but he can't turn left only. So how? What's the so-called secret setup? It comes down to how SVG loads the car. His supercar's background taught him to roll insane corner speed and trail brake deeper than almost anyone in the field, and on a worn Nashville surface that translates to keeping the car planted while everyone else is sliding the rear and burning their tires off. The field couldn't catch him because they were managing grip. He simply wasn't losing. But here's where the loop snaps shut and a new one rips open. We know he's a generational talent. We know the speed is real. So why would Rick Hendrick, a man who already has Larson Byron and Elliott, risk an alliance war to sign him? Because something inside the Hendrick camp is broken, and it's wearing the number 48. Here's the situation Rick Hendrick is staring at right now. Alex Bowman, the driver of the number 48 Ally Chevrolet, is fighting a battle that has nothing to do with horsepower. In early March 2026, during the race at Circuit of the Americas, Bowman climbed out of the car on lap 71, the diagnosis vertigo, and it did not go away. He missed Phoenix, his home track. Anthony Alfredo filled in. Then he missed Las Vegas. Justin Allgaier subbed. Then Hendrick announced he'd miss at least 3 more races. Read that timeline back. Fair dinkum. That's a flagship car with a rotating cast of fill-in drivers. In the first quarter of the season, Kyle Larson himself admitted the whole situation has the entire organization stressed out. And this isn't a one-off bug. This is the second time vertigo has knocked Bowman out of a car in his career. Back in 2022, a concussion ended his season early. For a sponsor like Ally, who pours millions into that 48, uncertainty is poison. They need a body in that seat who is bulletproof, marketable, and winning. Now connect the dots. Hendrick has 3 locked-in superstars. The 48 is the one unstable pillar in an otherwise perfect house and the single most valuable free agent talent in the entire sport. A guy who guarantees you wins on every road and street course on the calendar. A guy who just proved he's learning ovals frighteningly fast, happens to drive for a team Hendrick is technically allied with. That's not a coincidence. That's a target. And look, if you want the deep technical data that the NASCAR broadcast will never show you on a Sunday afternoon, the setup secrets, the contract chess, the telemetry the teams keep locked away, then you need to be part of this crew. Hit that subscribe button and join NASCAR Nation Decoded. We stay 2 laps ahead of the field every single week because what I'm about to tell you about the engine war is the part that actually makes Justin Marks nervous. Here's the dirty secret of the NASCAR garage: Trackhouse Racing. Justin Marks' team, the team SVG drives for, isn't a fully independent operation. When Trackhouse was formed, it entered an embedded operational alliance tied straight into the Chevrolet powerhouse Hendrick Motorsports: engines, engineering muscle, technical support. A chunk of what makes that number 88 car competitive flows downstream from the same building Rick Hendrick runs. Think about how mad that is. The thing that makes SVG fast on Sundays is partly Hendrick technology. So Rick Hendrick is, in a very real sense, helping power the exact driver he now wants to steal. This is the politics of it. Justin Marks took an enormous gamble. He's the one who signed Van Gisbergen, who brought him over from Australia, who believed in the road course experiment when half the garage laughed. SVG is the crown jewel of the entire Trackhouse identity. And for 2026, Trackhouse doubled down hard, locking in their lineup, bringing in Connor Zilisch, and landing a massive Red Bull backing. Marks is building an empire, and Van Gisbergen is the cornerstone. So you've got 2 Chevy bosses bound by an alliance, both needing the same man. If Hendrick reaches into Trackhouse and pulls SVG into the 48, he doesn't just sign a driver. He guts his own partner's identity and detonates the trust that holds the alliance together. Marks would be supplying technical cooperation to the very team that robbed him. That, mate, is why this is a war and not a transfer. There is no clean version of this deal. Somebody bleeds, so who's actually got the leverage? That's where this gets genuinely fascinating because the answer flips depending on one question: how badly does SVG want to win a championship now? And real quick, to all my mates watching from Australia and New Zealand right now, this is our moment in NASCAR. A bloke from Auckland is the most feared road racer in America, and the biggest team in the sport is fighting to sign him. We've waited a long time for this, so crack on and join the squad. Smash that subscribe button so we can ride this whole saga together. Right, let's bring it home. Here's the brutal logic laid bare. For Hendrick, SVG isn't a luxury, he's the fix. He solves the 48 instability problem. He hands Ali a global superstar, and he gives Hendrick something they genuinely lack: a man who turns every road and street course into a guaranteed shot at victory lane. In a playoff format where one road course win can punch your ticket to the next round, that is worth almost any prize. But here's the counterpunch. Why would Van Gisbergen leave? At Trackhouse, he is the king. He has the freedom, the Red Bull money, the team built around his strengths, and a boss in Justin Marks who staked his reputation on him. Loyalty in this sport is rare, and Marks earned his at Hendrick. SVG would be the 4th driver behind 3 established champions scrapping for resources and attention. So the real question isn't whether Hendrick wants him, it's whether anyone can pull SVG away from the man who bet everything on him in the first place. Rick Hendrick has the money, the machine, and the desperation. Justin Marks has the relationship, the loyalty, and the empire built in SVG's image. One of these 2 men is about to win a war that could reshape the entire Cup Series grid, and the loser doesn't just lose a driver, he loses face in front of the whole garage. So now it's on you. You've seen the telemetry, the medical chart, and the alliance about to crack down the middle. I want your verdict in the comments right now. If you think Rick Hendrick pulls off the heist and lands SVG in the 48, comment the word secret. If you believe Van Gisbergen stays loyal to Justin Marks and Trackhouse, comment the word loyalty. Drop it below, hit subscribe if you're not already part of the crew, and I'll see you in the next one when we decode exactly who blinks first. Cheers, legends!